Tommy's gonna taste the gin so that you don't have to. Let's just save your money, yeah, that's what Tommy wants. Minimal dilution, cause we wanna taste the gins. But if the gins are bad, then we will throw them in the bin. Now let's hand it over to Tommy, who is gonna taste. He's gonna get all rowdy and shout up the place.
Hey there douchebags, and welcome back to Tommy Tastes, the channel where I'm tasting the gin so that you don't have to. And normally we'll be trying that gin neat. However, this is a special two-part episode in which I will be trying pre-mixed monstrosities. That's right, this shit that you get in a can. I don't know why this exists. I'm going to be telling you whether I like these, and more importantly, whether they're worth your hard-earned cash. Spoiler alert, they're not. So in this first episode, what I'm going to talk about really is what I'm going to call the classic gins. And what I mean by that is that we're going to be trying the pre-mixed Tanqueray that's here, and then the pre-mixed Sipsmith that's here as well. I cannot wait. So let's talk a little bit about why these pre-mixed drinks exist, because it's kind of a new thing to have Jack Daniels and Coke in a can or gin and tonic in a can. But is it really that new? Think back to maybe your earlier years and your first experiences with drinking. I bet no one was a vodka drinker. However, you mix that vodka with a load of sugary shitty juice and all of a sudden it sells like wildfire and you're dancing in a club to some shit song that you don't care about. That's kind of what these are. They're kind of like booze for people that maybe don't like booze or it's more convenient. Yeah, I get it that they're like the equivalent of a road beer. So like if you need something to go on a train or I don't know, you need something to walk to the next pub. I guess this is somewhat convenient, but we've got to be honest. They're just grown-up alcopops at the end of the day. That's all they are. The gin that you get in here, I don't think you'd ever be able to recognise as actual gin. It is just really the tonic sensation that you're getting. So really, we shouldn't be dwelling too much on the gin that goes into these, because when you consider that they're 250ml cans a pop here, this one, the Tanqueray is only 6.5%, and the Sipsmith is only 7.3. So really, we're talking about somewhere between a double and triple shot of gin that's balanced out with almost 175 to 200 mils of tonic. So really, you're really over tonicking your gin. When you consider that the classic gin and tonic would be a 1:2 ratio, meaning that if you have 25 mils of gin, you effectively need 50 mils of tonic. Boom, that's your gin and tonic. But here, you're having almost double that. So you're just paying a lot for tonic. But then again, I guess if you were to get a can of something that was 75 millilitres, that would look a little bit strange. And I'm guessing as well, due to some licensing laws, you can't make them more alcoholic. Otherwise, they are just lethal when you think about it. Like, not everyone's picking up a can of 6.5% beer or 7.3% ale in this side and chugging it. Let's start with the Tanqueray. As I've said in previous episodes of this channel, I really like Tanqueray. And I don't mean just like Tanqueray 10 and they're more kind of high falutin concoctions. I really like the standard Tanqueray. It is by far and away the best classic gin that you'll buy. It only has 6 botanicals and it's just a very classic and pleasant expression of it. Anyway, I don't know what tonic they're using to dilute this with, because it doesn't say on the back. I know that Gordon's proudly boasts that it uses Schweppes tonic. Why that's a good thing, I don't know, because it's so fucking saccharine and bitter and chemically on the aftertaste that, I don't know why you'd put yourself through it. Anyway, there's nothing that really says much about it. I think it's just supposed to be drunk and enjoyed. I'm going to swig these directly from the can because that is how they're intended to be consumed. If you're putting this into a balloon glass and enjoying it at home, then you really need to have a think about your life, because I just don't know why you do it to yourself. Anyway, let's pop that can.
Any drinks from the trolley? Anyone need to get wankered before we reach our final destination?
So the first thing to say is that there's nothing particularly unpleasant about this. I don't like it because mixing gin with tonic is just not my thing. But it feels kind of clean. You do get this odd kind of chemically aftertaste from the tonic, but the gin kind of cuts through. You can tell that there's some booze in there, and you can't tell that it's Tanqueray. You can't tell any of the nice notes of Tanqueray or anything like that, but it's pretty insipid. I mean, if I had to drink it, sure, but it would just be the whole train beer argument, because there's nothing I like more than getting pissed up on a train and shouting at kids on the quiet carriage. Moving on to the Sipsmith, something a little more interesting, potentially. Now, we haven't really talked about Sipsmith on the channel, and it might not come as a surprise to you that I think Sipsmith is a load of shit. So they were formed in 2009 and were basically the distillery that kind of kick-started the craft gin revolution, despite the fact that there was already Hendrick's and Martin Miller's on the market, both of which far, far superior gins than Sipsmith. There's nothing particularly unique about Sipsmith. It just uses all the same botanicals that you'd find in Tanqueray, Gordon's, or Bombay. And I used to work on a bar where people would just go on non-stop about how great Sipsmith was and that they could never go back to Bombay Sapphire now that they've started on Sipsmith, which is fine, that's probably what it is. It's just another premium alternative to Bombay Sapphire. Do I think it's better than Bombay Sapphire? No, it's basically the same thing. It's pretty neutral, it's fine with a mixer, but that's kind of all it is. I just hate the fact that it tries to be something that it's not. It's just something that bankers will pour their money into and talk about how great it is. And they're not fucking craft distillery. I mean, there's no definition of what a craft distillery is, but when you're having your gin served in a Wetherspoons or on an airplane, there really is no argument that you're craft anymore. You're just a mass-producing distillery. I don't know if they're owned by Diageo or something. It certainly doesn't say on here. They might be independent, in which case fair play to them, but step up your gin game. It's just, you're not making a great gin. One thing that's already irked me about this can is the fact that it says skillfully blended on the actual can itself there. I don't know how this can be skillfully blended because a machine will be doing the work. So unless you are saying that the machine is your master blender, you've got something wrong. And also, you're just adding gin to tonic. It's not like you're making world's best meal. Fuck off. Anyway, let's pull that ring and have a sip.
Yeah, what I'm really looking for is 100 million % return on my investment of this gin.
Okay, well this one is way shitter than the Tanqueray, and I'll tell you exactly why. So, it's way sweeter, for starters. It doesn't say what tonic they're using, it just says London Dry Gin and tonic water with natural flavourings. However, I can tell you that there's nothing sweet about Sipsmith's gin. It is a classic incarnation of a London Dry Gin that is relatively indistinguishable from any of the other relatively good value London Dry Gins. So it must mean the tonic they're using is really sweet and it's got some kind of, like they say, natural flavourings, but they're sweet. You can't note that there's a gin in here or anything like that, or for that matter that it's Sipsmith. It's just an alcoholic tonic water. It's such a fucking waste of time. I don't know why people go for this unless you're on a train to Latitude festival where you're just going to spend all week in the middle class tents there. There is no point in having this whatsoever. I have to say, these have been my two best experiences with pre-mixed gin and tonics thus far. The previous ones I've tasted, I believe, were Gordon's, maybe a Beefeater one, and the Duke, which was described to me as the best incarnation of a pre-mixed gin and tonic that there is, and it was foul. It was so foul that I spat it out instantly. These two are acceptable. If you are buying these to enjoy at home, then you need to have a serious think about where your life is going, because they are simply not good enough. You are not enjoying any of the gin experience, and you are not embracing everything good about botanical complexity. This is just a cheat code to get drunk quick on the way to work. Fucking dumb cunts.
Yeah, like and subscribe, girl.
Like and subscribe. What? Like and subscribe. Work it out.